So welcome, Lily. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So let's start off with some introductions. So introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your specialty.
Okay. So I'm Lily. I just graduated in December with my master's in clinical mental health counseling, and I'm currently working in like a PhD IOP setting. Um, and I think kind of just in regards to like my specialty, which is infertility, I just have a passion for thinking about like reproductive care, especially in women of color. I've had struggles of my own with reproductive care. I remember when I was going through my struggles, there wasn't really any like mental health help. I kind of was just left to deal with it on my own. So I think just being an advocate in this setting can really help just boost the awareness of like what goes on with reproductive health as well as like infertility and just any other issues that a lot of women face that aren't really talked about, especially in terms of mental health. So
Okay. And so what do you feel like people need to know about the reproductive realm and the fertility area?
I think just like the impact it has on daily functioning, like there's a lot of different illnesses and things like that that can impact reproductive health as well as infertility. I know for me, I struggle with endometriosis, and there's days where I can't move because I'm in a lot of pain, and others don't understand that. They just think it's like a bad period or just something that can be fixed, quote unquote. And I think especially with infertility, people don't realize the impact it has on individuals, especially women, because we biologically were designed to give birth. And if you are unable to do that and you face complications, there's a stigma and like pressure that's on you. So I think just with that, it's important to make sure there's an outlet for these women to go to and be able to talk to someone about it.
That's interesting that you say that because that's part of like my next question is the emotional toll that it takes,
Mhm.
especially if you talk about Black women. We like dig in, we're like career oriented. We want to make sure
Mhm.
our lives are stable before we start introducing families into the world. And
Absolutely.
by the time we do that, it's like, oh, but you have this issue going on,
Mhm.
and this issue leads to this issue, which leads to this issue. And sometimes you don't know until
Mhm.
you're ready to move forward with that. And so,
Absolutely.
how do you feel like the emotional slash mental and the reproductive and fertility play a part with each other?
Mhm. I think really like I spoke out a little bit about like the stigma and pressure that women face of like our, especially thinking about like in society, our main thing here is to have kids or to bear children. So I think when you're unable to do that or the challenges that you face to get to that point can really have a toll on like your self-identity, your worth. Like, am I worthy of bearing children if I potentially cannot kind of thing? And even like the stigma in relationships, you never know how it may impact your intimate relationships or your personal relationships if that's something that you really want. So I think just thinking about how much of the weight kind of just carries on you, and it can just really impact how you may just look at life in general.
And what patterns have you noticed, whether it's you from your lived
Mhm.
experience of this or people that you've been in contact with, clients, or just people that you know? What's a pattern that you notice when it comes to dealing with fertility?
Kind of speaking for myself, especially because I'm at the age of 25 and I was told early on, like, hey, like your time frame is a little bit shorter than the typical woman, where like most women have like 30 to 35, or I have like 25 to 30. So I'm in that peak season right now where I'm like, okay, I need to figure life out, I need to figure out this, I need to figure out that. And I'm like, let me just slow down really quickly and make sure I'm taking care of myself first before I try to think about all these other factors that go into bearing a child. So I think the patterns I see is just like the pressure you put on yourself and how you look at life. It's like sped up rather than slowed down how it is for typically other people. So,
And how would you suggest someone deal with that? Because that's a hard truth to accept where I think my eggs are going to last this long, but the reality is, oh no, you only have this short amount of time. And half we're not even established in our 25 to 30, even in our minds.
yeah.
So how does one maneuver through that, like, wow, that epiphany that I have to move faster?
hmm I think the biggest thing that's helped me is just talking about it, to be quite frank. I think a lot of times it's something you don't want to talk about because it's something where like you don't know how someone may like react to it or how they may handle it kind of thing. But I know like me being my own therapy, it's something I process for family is also very supportive, so I talk to them about it all the time, kind of thing, as well as with my partner. So I really do think like talking about it. I also follow a lot of pages on Instagram that are geared towards endometriosis or infertility awareness, just because it feels good to have that support of like, okay, it's not just me dealing with this thing.
Hmm. And that's usually what's helpful is it's not just me going
Yes.
through it, which is why this conversation is important and we want to get the conversation out. So if someone's listening to this and they recognize themselves in it, the stress in it, what's one first step that they can take?
I would definitely say research for a good doctor. I think that is what helped me a lot is I finally found a doctor who understands my illness, understands like the pressure of infertility. So I would definitely say research a good doctor. Do your own research as well too. You're your biggest advocate, especially as a woman of color. A lot of times doctors try to push you away and be like, "Oh, it's not that serious, like
Mhm.
it'll work out for you." And the reality is you don't know if it's going to work out. So I think when you're able to take control of your own advocacy, that really helps you maneuver on how to get through this.
Okay, which would go into my next question about helping like the high achieving Black woman who's concerned with her reproductive and her fertility. What are some boundaries, like the
Mhm.
main boundaries she needs to set for herself as she's going through this journey?
I would say the main boundary would be your own health and wellness, if I'm being quite frank. I am really into wellness as well too, and I've changed my diet a lot as well, just to gear towards my health. So I think your own health and wellness should be a boundary that you should set in place. Like I don't overwork myself. I make sure I get the rest I need. I make sure I eat when I need to eat, kind of thing. So I think that's the biggest boundary. If you're able to maintain your own health and wellness, then you kind of have a grip on how to move through this next part of your life.
And so, how do you suggest one do that? Because we're
Mhm.
talking about high achieving, overthinking, perfectionist, and you're telling her, I need you to slow down and I need you to put yourself first for
Mhm.
this particular situation, which should be across the board. But
Yes.
how do you suggest someone that is not used to that, has not seen that, it hasn't been modeled? What would you say to her?
I definitely would. I am her, 100%. I know especially during grad school, like I did not prioritize health and wellness at all to the point that I got burnt out and I felt like I was just a zombie walking around, not knowing what's going on. So I think what really helped me realize it is like one, my own therapist telling me like, "Hey, girly, like you need to slow down," kind of thing. And of course, it took me a while to accept that because when you're in that state of constant survival, it's like, what is slowing down? I don't know what that means, especially as
Right.
a Black woman. We don't know what that means. So I really do think like therapy has helped me. I think social media has been a really big impact on my life as well too, in a good way, because I see a lot more people prioritizing their health, especially this newer generation. They're
Hmm.
very into like health and wellness. Like I don't care what my job says, I'm going to do myself first. So I think also something that my therapist told me early on is like, how would you talk to your friend in this situation? How would you treat your friend in this situation? So thinking myself as not like myself, but as just Lily has helped me just conceptualize myself in the sense of like, okay, Lily deserves this thing, even if I don't believe I deserve this thing. So,
So looking at yourself like a different entity.
yes,
I like that. And you want to treat yourself how you want to be treated. So if
absolutely.
you are very soft to yourself and tending to yourself, then your partner's going to do the same. Family and friends, we would hope, are going to do the same. And if they don't, it gives you information.
Yep.
So do you consider the work that you do generationally healing?
100% yes, I think so. It's funny because I have conversations with my dad about this all the time on like how mental health has like shaped and shifted over generations in the years. And like I'm teaching my parents things now, for things they
Mhm.
didn't realize like was not great to do kind of thing. So I do think the work that I'm doing is very generationally healing because it starts with just one person to kind of start and establish that wellness in their life. And it starts to trickle down to people around you as well too.
Mhm. And so because one of the things that we pride here at Javery Wellness is that we're not just professionals. This is our lived experience. We are them, they are us. And so we're not coming from just the book smarts. We're coming from every single day I get up and I am managing this as well. So, what's one thing that you personally do for self care that you would recommend to someone else, especially when it comes to their fertility journey?
I think something that I really prioritize is my mornings because
Mm.
I work later on in the morning. So I still wake up kind of early just to have a slow start to my morning. Like my morning is my favorite part of the day because I get off later. So essentially when I get off, like everyone is basically winding down and I'm just
Yeah.
now trying to wind down and get myself together.
Mhm.
So every morning myself lay in bed for a good 30 minutes before I even like get out the bed because I know I used
Mhm.
to like wake up 6:30 and I'm up at like 6:35 and just like running around getting everything
Lily,
together.
that's early.
I know. But now I kind of wake up around like 7:30. I give myself some time to, get myself, my mind, and all that together. Um, and listen to music. I listen to affirmations almost every morning just to make sure like I'm setting my intention for the day. I make sure I have like a smoothie and a coffee or a tea. So just being really intentional about my mornings. I think something that I realized really early on in like my grad school journey was sometimes our daily routine is our self-care. We just don't set it
Mhm.
with intention. So I think just setting my intention behind everything I do throughout the day helps me with my self-care.
Well, that's good. A good morning routine. I struggle a little bit with morning routines, especially when the season changes
For
outside.
sure.
Yeah. So finish this sentence. I wish every Black woman knew.
I wish every Black woman knew that we don't have to live up to every societal standard that's set.
Tell me a little bit more.
I think when we think of like the basic societal standards, it was not built upon us. It was built upon a different perspective of how women should be in society, a privileged woman should be in society. And just to be quite frank, the reality is Black women, we don't have that privilege to be that woman that society wants us to be. So I think just remembering like society is a construct of a lot of made up things that have been built off of years and years of just discrimination and things like that. So I think remembering like we can create our own expectation and make sure that it's realistic for yourself and not what somebody else wants you or what you feel like you should be perceived as.
It's interesting that you say that because right now, a lot of things are out of our control when it comes to
Mhm.
our body, our reproductive care, just the safety of being in these medical professionals' space. And so, how do you think that someone should start moving through here, or how do they take care of themselves in the uncontrollable situation?
Mhm. I think the biggest and the hardest thing to do is give up that control. Like I know it's really hard to look at stuff and realize like a lot of things are out of our control and we don't know what's going to happen next. But I think something that's really helped me is just like I have really limited how much I digest every day as well too when it comes to like the news. And I always tell
Mhm.
myself like if I need to figure it out, it will be told to me kind of thing. Like I will find out
Right.
eventually. Of course I stay up to date with certain things just like for my clients and things like that because I know like the impact it has on them. But I think something just like for myself is remembering like that circle of control is very small and like what is in our
Mhm.
control is just us, ourselves, and our body. So whatever else is going on the outside, yes, it'll have an impact on us, but what is me getting really amped up and worked up going to do about this situation? It's kind of like, how do I allow it to impact me is something I've just really tried to implement. So I think that's the biggest thing and remembering like, yes, all these things don't feel good. It's very stressful. It's like we don't know what's going to happen next. And also like stressing about all these things that we don't know what's going to happen next. What is that going to do for us, but make it worse?
Mhm. Right. Because the reality is, we don't know. Like, we're in this too with everyone else. And I think it's a hard balance for us as therapists, but also hard for clients to understand who
Yes.
think that coming to therapy means give me the answers, right? Like, I'm
Mhm.
struggling with this thing. I'm coming to you. I'm paying you to fix it.
Yeah.
But there are some situations where this is all of our first times. And we're
Mhm.
just going to kind of move through it the way that we know how to move through it and see what happens on the other side.
100%.
And I know in this space, in your specialty, it's hard to do that because, like you
Mhm.
said, we've been groomed to think, oh, bringing children into the world is like our one main thing. And if we can't do it, what are we worth? Like, what is our value? And
Mhm.
also, there are those that it's not just that you were told to do that, but that's what you yearn for. Like, you yearn
Absolutely.
for a family, you yearn to be able to have the baby the healthy way. And so, how do I what do I need to do? What do I need to listen to in order to guide me through something that I legit cannot control? Like, my body is betraying me and there's not really much that I can do about it. And so what are I don't, some podcasts or resources, books that you recommend for a person that's like, this is where I'm at right now. I've been given the information. What do I do with the information now?
Um, as far as like resources, I will definitely say like Instagram. I know a lot of people are kind of like finicky when it comes to social media, but I have learned
Mhm.
so much about my illness from Instagram than I have from any doctor. So I definitely would say like there's a couple of pages I follow on Instagram. Typically, I'll just like type in on like the Explorer, like hashtag like endometriosis, hashtag infertility, hashtag reproductive care, and I'll just kind of look at what pops up for me. There's also a book, I think I have it over here. It's Tia Mowry. I know it's one of the Mowry sisters, one of the twin sisters. She has endometriosis, and my stepmom actually gifted me a cookbook that she made, and that's also helped me kind of just like why, like I know I can control what I eat and what I put in my body, so that's
Right.
something that really helped me with that circle of control of like let me prioritize my health and wellness in ways that I know I can do. So I think that's really helpful is like, how do we fix our diet? Should we work out? Should we do
Hmm.
things that we know I can control kind of thing?
Oh, I love how you keep bringing food into it because food
Yeah.
is really, it's so important with everything that we do. I'm struggling with it right now, but the reality is a lot of our ailments could probably be fixed with just a shift in
Yes,
movement and eating.
absolutely.
Okay. So for someone who's never been to therapy but's curious, what would you want them to know about what it's like to work with you?
I think something I always tell my clients every single, well, not every single, well, every time we meet for the first time, I say this is a collaborative process. I believe in client autonomy 100%. So I'm just here as the aid to help, what's going on. Something that one of my professors said in grad school that really stuck with me is like, we are the ones when the client is going up the mountain with a whole bunch of rocks on their back, we help them take the rocks off. We don't carry them for you. So kind of helping you figure out like how can I take off all these pressures that are going on while also letting you be the guide of the journey as well. So I always say the client has the answers. We're just the mirror that helps them reflect it back to them.
I love that. I love that. And yes, Lily's books are open. She is now taking new clients. She sees Aetna clients, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield clients, and self-pay clients, which you can find Lily over on our website at javerywellness.com. Any last words that you want the people to know from you, Lily?
I think something I just want to highlight is like we are in very scary times, and a lot of times when we get scared, we tend to isolate and avoid dealing with things. So I would say this is like the perfect time to get in therapy. I know right now it's like, what is oh, there is a lot going on. And also remembering if our mental health isn't taken care of, we can't make informed decisions correctly. We can't continue to move through our life without taking care of ourselves first.
I like them.